Welcome back to another episode of Cric Chat powered by Ameer. Ameer, I'm going to start off the conversation with you. How has your role evolved over the years as a bowler for the
Like in terms of my role as a bowler, it's pretty much stayed the same, more or less. Like as a player, it was always me coming in and trying to start the innings and try to get some early wickets for the team in the power play. And I think over the years, it has been more or less the same. Nothing much has changed. Like also, like I'm more considered as a bowling all-rounder. So in the end, it's just about when you're coming at number 7 and 8, just try to get some a bit more score on the board as well. But I think in terms of how it has evolved is that when this team started, especially nights, it was like I was we had a captain, but he got injured, and then I was given the responsibility to take over. So I think in that course it has changed because the responsibility in the start was a little bit more, where I was just not responsible for my own part of the team as a player, but also just managing the team, and then being a captain of a new team as well. And that time, especially the OGs like Saad is one of them. We needed to bring some a little bit more structure in the team because it was a fairly new team. We used to play to Div 3 at that point, so it was just like it wasn't too much organized. There was not much structure because everybody was new. So I think it was part of me was to like bring some structure in the team, bring some processes, and trying to put us in the straight on the path of where we start doing some build some team, and there is some momentum behind it, and then also we can achieve some goals as
No, I'll give him credit there because I remember because I joined after you were already part of
yeah.
Glenmore because I was playing for St. John's at the time.
Yeah.
When I switched over, just because most of my buddies had moved over, in cricket खेलते हैं तो माहौल वही होता है, you want to play with your friends because you're spending so much time on the field, so you might as well have that environment as well. So when we started off as Glenmore 3. At that time, we didn't have Knights or Braves or any of the other teams. So starting off from being, the lowest ranked team within the club itself, there was no structure in place. So for me personally, I'm sure a lot of people can attest to that as well, is he is primarily responsible for everything that we have in terms of structure, coming on time, organizing things. So he started that off, and it was a lot easier for future captains like myself or whoever comes on now, to take the same thing that he's already built, the foundation, and to move forward. So I know he doesn't consider that, but that's about it's a huge thing, to have that
Yeah.
mentality, and have organized cricket in terms of just showing up 5 minutes before the game. There's no structure. Somebody's coming late, somebody's coming right on time. You can't run a team like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of credit goes to him for setting that up, and it's been a lot easier for me to just take over that, and kind of run with it.
same culture?
Same culture, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think the
That's
key is culture, right? Like you have
exactly,
to,
you nailed it. Yeah.
like for me, just like, you can have the best strategy, you can have the best players, but if you don't have build a culture, then it will not work. Like, culture will eat strategy, performances every day. So if you bring this culture in an environment there where people can, express themselves, people feel safe, and they feel like they're valued as well. And there's process, right? It's not just like one man trying to like, do something. If there's a process, and even like I'm abiding the process, it's easier for the newcomers as well, right? Or for the new captains. Okay, there's a process in place which we do have in our team as well, and based on that we do our selections. Based on that we define roles. Based of that we plan our games as well. uh
100%. I mean, yeah, you already kind of mentioned this, Saad, but if you go back, a team coming from day three
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
then going to elite,
Yeah.
T20, and now even last year you won
Right.
the championship for 35 overs.
Yeah.
So, like, such a beautiful journey.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. Yeah. And the core has still remained the same. The 6, 7 guys that we started off with originally from 6 years ago now.
yeah.
Yeah, we're still there, and it's because of the fact because of the culture of the team. To be very honest with you, मेरी पहले बड़ी हटती थी यार, ये क्या drill sergeant बना हुआ है, time पे नहीं आ रहे तुम लोग, ये कर रहे हो वो कर रहे हो, But because that was a culture, that I previously was part of, pehle, sabse pehle, back in the days, it was Crown. And then uske baad St. John's could be, it was a similar, kind of relaxed environment. You show up, 10, 15 minutes before the game, have a little huddle, talk about the game, and then you just go on. So for him to, bring that mentality कि यार अगर खेल रहे हैं तो serious तरह खेलना है और जीतने के लिए खेलना है. And I mean, it did pay dividends. Like you said, look where we are now.
And credit goes to them as well, because they took this. They it's not just like you bring something on, right? It's also like the players buying into that as well. It's not like a one person can do it. It's always a group of people who buy into that as well. Okay, this makes sense to us, and then it paid dividends to us as well. And I think that's key as well. It's not just like me doing it. It's also like about this group of 6, 7 guys who were there from the beginning, that they bought into that vision, right? Like, okay, and it's not about like winning. It was more for us like, okay, if we're gonna play, we're gonna be a little more organized. So that's a bit, and then they realize, okay, it's more fun as well, And then winning kind of like was a byproduct of it.
And I know I've seen Ameer on the field as well. He's got this game face on.
Yeah. He's a live wire for sure.
I'm surprised he's not wearing those.
वैसे पहन के लगाना क्या होना चाहिए था,
You might have a hard time taking this in right now because you're sitting right here, but I do want to say this, that he's the type of leader that I've seen it, and what I've observed is he's one of those that walks the talk.
The talk, yeah. You can't just talk and not have anything to back it up with, right? So that's the other thing as well. If you're talking a big game, you should be able to back it up. Because nobody takes you seriously after that as well. It's like यार ये आगे से बुंगे ही मारता है, और आगे से कुछ होता नहीं है, खुद की performance नहीं है और ये नहीं है, so
Broader picture of Glenmore Cricket Club. I believe Glenmore Cricket Club is probably one of the most diverse club in the city. Talk about the culture. Talk about your social events.
Yeah, for sure. That was the biggest, thing that I saw, versus the other clubs when I joined Glenmore. It was, such a diverse club. Like you have people from everywhere, like South Africa, Australia. We have a couple of guys from West Indies as well. UK as well. Alex, who's been the president or was the president for the longest time. Yeah, he's an OG. Yeah, for sure. So, I give them a lot of credit because I never saw that, where they want to get your families involved as well.
Yeah.
Most of the clubs over here, it's just cricket. You come on the field, whoever you're close with, you talk to them, now and then, but you never have family events. So this, club in specific was huge, and my kids, look forward to, like, we have curling events every year,
Trivia nights.
Yeah, trivia nights as well. In fact, 2 years ago we had Gilchrist on the trivia night as well. We all had questions for him, and barbecues and stuff like that. So on that scale, I think Glenmore takes the cake. I know I want to shout out Shaheen as well, because they've been very involved. They're a newer club, but they're on that track as well, which is awesome. There should be more things where your families can come out, and observe, your players, your teammates, the club itself.
Even on the barbecues and even on the other events that we do, it's not just like only the players are coming. They're encouraged to bring the families as well. So the kids are coming, the families are coming, even the spouses know each other as well. So that way, it's just like a bit. It's pretty good, I think. And Glenmore does, like, it was always there. A lot of other clubs have caught up to that kind of a culture as well. But like since when I moved to Calgary and when I was looking at the club 6 years ago, I think Glenmore was the only one that was doing that bit. But I'm happy to see also, the other clubs are also taking the lead. It's not just one club that's doing it. There's a lot of other clubs that are also like, doing the same thing.
Yeah, these guys have planned a few trips as well abroad, I think a couple of years ago we had, a trip to BC actually. It wasn't out of the country, but we took our families there as well. So it was an excellent time, where we play cricket in the morning, and then in the evenings, just meet up with the guys, and the families are there as well, and it was a lot of fun. And families, not like my wife and my kids, actually look forward to it. Okay, when is that event happening? When are we leaving, or when are we going? So that is an excellent thing, because we all have families, right? And for us to be on a cricket field is equivalent to being, at work, because it's an 8 hour, 9 hour, depending on what format you're playing. Normally, it's a full day that you're out, So for them to be part of this journey as well, has, been a little easier, and where you don't feel as much guilty, leaving your kids at home on a weekend, because there's always something happening within the club as well. So I love that, being a father, and having 3 kids of my own, where kids are looking forward to these events as well. It's excellent.
Yeah. Other part of like having a diversity as well, and it hasn't really towed into one direction, and there's still like it's still pretty diverse club, and
Yeah.
yeah, and the reason behind that is because we like there's elections for the VPs or the presidents, so you won't be seeing the same faces in terms of the executives, right? So
Yeah,
it's
they
always
have it. We
different.
have a 2 year contract within the club as well, where the president can only stay on for 2 years.
So we have our
VPs, yeah, I have the same kind of process as well.
there's bylaws, so there's a code of conduct. So I think that kind of like also keeps the club diverse as well, rather than just pivoting into one direction. Or there's you'll see a mix of people that are from one ethnicity or more, and which is also ties into what can the culture of Canada as well and represents that, right?
Many years ago, we would have families on riding part, but not on fields as well. And that part is gone completely.
Yeah,
You would play any team and you would not see their families.
right.
And I'm glad Shaheen, they're able to do that.
Yeah.
Glenmore has always done it.
Yeah.
The both under clubs are also able to do this
Yeah.
because we need that culture back,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Now, let's talk about the junior program. Glenmore, I believe they are the pioneers
Yeah.
in this program, and it's still going strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you, from within the club itself, we actually have a couple of guys. One actually is still active. Imad has been part of that. There were a couple other guys that's actually started from the junior program. Reese was one of them.
Yeah.
And I'm forgetting,
Freddie.
Freddie was another one of them as well. They started from this junior level, and kept on going till they were part of one of the Glenmore teams. So these guys are the originators, of this whole kids program. Lately, Raman or Rambo, as we call him, in the club, is pivotal, to that, because he takes that on upon himself, every year. We had a camp that happened. I think it just finished last weekend, actually. Yeah. It was the same thing, where you bring your kids out, and then the club members, because my boys were going as well. I want to volunteer as well, just so that they see that I'm involved too. So it is a really, really good platform for kids just to get interest, because when kids are born over here, their first go-to sport isn't cricket, and I think this is one way of getting them kind of involved in the sport. And to keep that interest alive. How long they pursue that is it's a different story, because kids over here, they want to play hockey, they want to play basketball, so cricket is not even on the radar, right? So that kind of helps them, when every year you have these programs and they're going and they're seeing that there are other kids their age, from 8 to like 15, or even younger, coming in, they speak the same language, they have the same interests, but on the side, they love, cricket as well. So in terms of that, it's an excellent program, for kids to join, get an idea as to what cricket is about. Like a lot of kids, when they come in, they have no idea. They don't know what bowling is or batting is or how the scoring works. So they go through each step individually, fielding, bowling, batting, and then kids kind of pick up from there as well.
Yeah, and most of these guys volunteer as well. Like Saad volunteers. There's a few other guys who are like within our that play for our team as well. That they volunteer and they would go there and coach the kids as well. So it's not just there's one guy. There'll be a few people there who would be like for batting consultants or batting coaches or bowling coaches, and they're always trying to give them tips or do some drills with the kids as well. So it's a good one to explore. And I think it's like even if somebody doesn't want to explore, And any athletes, you talk about any athletes, even they're cricketers or, like football players, they'll always tell you when they were young, they would play all the sports, right?
Yeah.
Because it's different muscle groups that, work in different, football or ice hockey has different muscle groups, cricket has a different muscle groups, it has a different mindset as well. And then you kind of like explore. And I think cricket is also like being how complicated it is. It's also like very close to what life is, right? Like the ups and downs, and like also like it's not just you, it's the whole team. So it also helps you to, how to engage in a community or how to, like be a part of the team as well, because that's everywhere. You go to, you're in a high school, you need to fit in. You start a career, you join a new company, you need to fit in, you work as a team. So I think cricket always gives you those good lessons as well of how you accomplish a single goal by working as a team, and which I don't think an individual sports give you, like because there you're pretty much on your own and you're training and then you kind of like pursue that. But working within the community and how to keep yourself and what your role is and how you add value also teaches you a lot of stuff as well.
What does sportsmanship mean to Glenmore?
Well, I think it's everything for us. We've always displayed that attitude on the field as well. Um, just playing in the spirit of the game itself. I mean, things happen, at in the heat of the moment, but I mean, we're human,
Yeah,
right? Like
I think
stuff
for
like
us,
that happens.
sportsmanship is one of the core fundamentals,
Yeah.
and you'll see that in all of our teams because we talk very much about it on a club level, and then it has kind of like transcended onto the teams level as well. Like for us, like performance is secondary, but your attitude in the field has to be like you're representing a club that has some, some history and that we have these values, so we don't tolerate any of that, stuff.
Hmm.
In fact, for like sometimes it's good for the cricket, like like there's a little bit of banter going on, but as long as it stays banter, we always say in our hurdles like, okay, banter is allowed, but sledging is not allowed. It's not a physical contact sport, so we need to stay within that limit. And every time we are very clear, like like we don't really care. We do care about performances, but we'll provide you feedback, but we would not kick you out of the club or kick you out of the team just because you weren't performing, because it varies, right? If we have recruited you, we have seen you, it's just maybe we are failing to bring your potential. But when it comes to your attitude on the field, like it has to be proper. Sportsmanship is also for us is like you either you're winning or you're losing, and even if you lose and you had a hard game, at the end of the day it stays on the field. The moment the game is over, it's done. You go and you shake their hands, and
Yeah.
when you're
And
off
like
the
I said,
field
things
you're
happen,
talking.
in the heat of the moment, but like it's never personal,
Yeah.
It
And I don't think
should
so we
never go
have
through
any
that. Yeah.
history of any disciplinary actions or anything like that, or
Yeah.
you'll ever see that, oh, these guys are in a fuss. And I think, and a lot of other clubs as well. I think New West is another team that plays in the right spirit of the game as well.
Yeah, New West is a very good
Yeah,
example too. Yeah.
and in the end, like especially I tell all our teammates as well. Like at the end of the day, we are like middle-aged dads who are playing cricket, right? So like just like don't take it too seriously. Like it has to be serious to a point that you're playing in the right spirit, like you're being competitive, but there's no place to you bully somebody or you abuse or you get physical. Like if you do that, it's a big no. But I think it's more about like everybody understand how stringent we are in terms of it. Like we would not.
In fact, the message after every team selection is let's display the same, values that Glenmore has always displayed in terms of the spirit of the cricket, cricketing community.
Yeah.
So for us, like every message that I send out now, after team selection, that is, copy and paste from like all the messages that have been floating for the last like 6 years. So that has never changed. So for us, it's a huge deal, and like you said, like you'll never hear, from our club or our team, I would say. Hopefully the club continues the same, sportsmanship that we have been displaying for the last, so many years, that we had an issue with Glenmore, or Glenmore player was out of line, or this happened, or there was a conflict, or somebody confronted somebody.
We toe a hard line on
Yeah.
that as well as a club, as a team. We do toe a hard line on that. Even with say sometimes a lot of bouts get into with the umpires, and I tell them like there's so many mistakes people make on an international level.
Yeah.
Like now because of the DRS of the technology, we see those things now, like how wrong they're paid for it. They're professionals, and even they can
they can make a mistake as well.
right?
Yeah.
And then I tell them like, don't take it personally. I'm pretty sure they're not trying to do it on purpose. Don't get into those arguments with
I mean, I don't know about
players.
that. You know, some
Some people, but we do have
Yeah.
conversations with
Yeah,
that as
yeah,
well.
no,
Like sometimes people sometimes do it, but we tell them like when they come out, we don't encourage that, or we don't like as a team we start like, yeah, you're right, and this and that. Because to be honest, there's a lot of decisions that like went in my favor as well. That, that I thought like were
literally,
exactly.
when you watch the video,
Yeah.
like, oh,
So like
crap, you know.
so we say that to the team as well. You know, like how many of the decisions we think that they were, you know, they went in our favor when they should not have went. So you should always need to understand that there will be some that would not go in our direction. But you can raise your concern, but you don't get into a, you know, like a full on 5 minutes conversation with them.
And I
because
think
they're-
at the end of the day, then it falls on the captain as well, right? Like all the captains in the team, they should have that much control, on the boys in terms of making sure, like, stuff that has happened in the past within CDCL, never happens, because that means like I've failed as a captain. I've failed at this job that I was handed, to keep a track or control of the entire team, and I lost it at some point. So and that's the other thing as well. I think as long as you have somebody that is willing to listen to whatever the concern is, they can talk about it after the match as well. Like we have WhatsApp groups. Things get tossed into that all the time. Like every other team. So
one thing I love that you're talking about this right now, that there's a proactive approach.
right, yeah.
it's communication, right? If you keep on communicating, yeah. The other part is like, like I think it's like I think people get too horned of for winning the game, and then for some people it's about like we have to win by hook or by crook. I think if you build a culture not like, oh, I have to win a championship, if that is your vision of your team, I think that then, you know, and then these things come in because you're trying will happen. But if your vision is that, okay, we need to play in within the spirit, like your vision or your principles are not like winning the game, it's about, you know, like how to play the game, how to have fun. And then also like part of it is like, you know, we need to play in the right spirit of the game, these things will not happen. But if you're just telling the team we're here and we need to win, you know, everybody will take that message differently. You know, if you go in the huddle like, I need to win, you will take it differently, he will take it differently, I will take it differently. But if
You're dealing with 11 personalities, right?
exactly right. So for some person, like, you know, like I'm gonna like rough up the umpire or I'm gonna start sledging somebody, that but he's thinking that I'm doing it for the team. But that's where, you know, if you have a core principles and some values that you have defined, like five things that this is what it means for playing this team, and you need to buy into this as well. And if that happens, then you would not see those things. And also last part is the communication, because, you know, to your point, it's a proactive approach. Like there's one thing you start like honking everybody, or, you know, start using the stick, or you over communicate these things, and these things will not happen.
You briefly touched on this, that you know, a lot of things has happened
Right.
in the past,
Yeah.
where we shouldn't have to deal with.
No,
No.
no. Especially at this level.
Yeah, the clubs need to communicate that more proactively, and I'm glad Glenmore is showing is clearly working for you.
Yeah.
Really working for Glenmore.
Like
Yeah.
also like now with the YouTube live stream is you don't want your kids to see that, right? Or your parents, right? You're seeing like my 40-year-old like son is just like getting into about like, oh, do you want to see your kids doing that when they grew up at that age? It's like, what are you doing? So I think it's also about being an example of like, okay, my family is watching, or my nieces and nephews are watching.
For the last 6 years, we made it to playoffs every year, but what I'm talking about, this core previous or prior to us, I know Glenmore has an elite championship as well. I think that was back in 2022.
Yeah, I think we have total
Yeah,
three
three championships in total. Yeah, but as if you talk about night, for the last 6 years, this core has been making it to the playoffs every year. But we had this monkey on our back to like last year, and it gets very frustrating as well, because every year you're playing the playoffs, but you can't cross the finish line. But yeah, last year was like it's a huge relief now. It's like
Yeah, but I think on a club level, I think we have three championships under our belt.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now that I think about it, just take me back a little bit. You faced Preds a couple of times, and it was a qualifier,
Yeah.
and then
We played the final.
Yeah.
you lost both of those games.
Yeah.
And the following year, you come into the elite
Yeah.
with Preds,
Yeah.
and then you beat them.
Yeah.
What did that mean to you as a club or as a team?
You know, when you start losing, from the same team, it gets to you where it kind of becomes personal. Now I have to do everything I can, obviously staying within the, spirit of the game to win. So you strategize accordingly. You go back and see where you made mistakes or what could have been done differently. And obviously, you start to take more responsibility. Like it was on me, like I lost twice in a row, you know.
And you score the winning run.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so that's just a mindset. I think it's in general, like, it's I'm not gonna say who, but we've had a couple of teams where we're like, all right, I think we've lost against these guys enough times to know exactly what to do, right for the next one. So it's just, I think, planning at the end of
I
the
think
day.
it's about reading the game more,
Yeah.
reading the teams as well. Like, to be honest, like the kind of level of cricket that we are playing, like obviously every team has their weaknesses, every team has their
Yeah.
strengths. And I think if you play any team, and it's pretty sure you guys have the same idea, you have a pretty good idea of what he does. I probably have a, like if I played with you twice or three times, I can have a good idea. It's about
Yeah.
you're just gauging of what his strengths and his weaknesses are.
Yeah, it's
And
just
I
planning.
think, and I always tell like in the end, it just comes about execution on that day as well. So like for us, like obviously like, and part of it is winning and losing as well. So, eventually one has to win and one has to lose. You will be sometimes on up and sometimes you will be on the other side of the result as well. But yeah, like it does like it always gives it a bit like, because it keeps it competitive as well.
Yeah,
Like if we
exactly. Yeah.
keep on losing to one team all the time, it might just become boring.
Yeah.
So like if we do we do pick up a win as well. So at least it is always a healthy competition going on where the other team. But I think at the end of the day, it's just about I feel
Planning
like
and
once you
execution, I
play
think,
with
is, yeah.
with one team 2 or 3 times, you have both the teams know of what they bring on the table, and at that day it's just about executing the team, executing your plans. And I think it's also is about who is more hungry for that.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I think hunger plays a part in it, like
Big time.
because in the end, it's like who is more hungry for this one, and it comes down to
Yeah.
that.
No, I mean, going back to the Preds game, maybe, they were thinking, oh, we've had these guys, twice, yeah. So we know exactly what to do, but on the hindsight, we were planning something else. I had a very specific plan in mind as to how to rotate my bowlers, where I can, bring in this guy or that guy, same thing as well. And I think just to keep it fresh as well, every year when you recruit new guys, you don't know them, right? For you guys, he's a surprise package. You don't know what he can do. The same thing, works out with you guys as well. That we don't know. Oh, we haven't played against this guy, so we don't know what to do. So, that planning and thing, being captain, like this, more than 10,000 thoughts that are in my mind at the time. It's like my mind is going haywire, right? So, because somebody comes to bowl in, you're expecting to collect a wicket, but he goes for like 15, 20 runs. That wasn't part of the plan, but obviously, the opposing team is here to play as well.
Of course.
So it's just, I think, planning and hoping, that the plans work out, as to how you've planned it. So execution at the end of the day is huge for us.
For us,
And we
it
plan
doesn't
every
really,
game like
it
that.
does matter. Like, obviously a win is a good one. Like winning is something that it achieves, but for us, like it's all about like when we come out of the field, and even if we have lost the game, the one question that we ask each teammate, like, did you put your 100% in?
Yeah.
And if you feel like, yeah, this is the best I was on this day, and if that is what you have done, then that is enough for us. Like at the end, it's just about putting your 100% in. You have no control over the game of where the result
Yeah.
is. And you've seen that, right? Because cricket is sometimes is on the day as well. And especially T20 format, one person can take away the game from you. It's his day, one drop catch, or one. So you have no control, and that's how life is. Like you can all you can do is put your best, put your 100% in, and if you win, great. If you don't win, at least you come out and saying that this is what I had. Like maybe you got hit for like a lot of runs or you scored 3 runs, but if you'd come to me, it's like, hey, Skip, this was the best I had today.
Yeah.
you know, and that's it. And that's
It goes back to the same thing. Right? You have to win, you have to learn. That's it, bro. Like, yeah.
Now, Saad, I want you to watch out for his answer because I'm going to ask him, and I don't want you to downplay this one. So I want you to talk about. Obviously, you were the best bowler of Elite Division last year. So talk about your personal performance, and I also want to ask you, where do you get that control of bowling 6 Yorkers?
like in term. I
Lots
honestly
of
like.
nets.
I honestly like. I like. I I don't think so that there's anything that I can talk about. I don't want to like talk about my personal performances. Everything for me, what matters to me is like the team performances, right? Like obviously, like the control is just about, you know, some things are your. I think as a player, how what I think about is that, and as any player, I think you like, and I actually like heard it from the great Imran Khan. But when if you like read about his career and everything, he was a very mediocre player. Like there was nothing like extra. Like he wasn't like he didn't had a lot of talent or you know raw talent. And somebody asked him like, you know, like you came in and you weren't that impressive, and then you got dropped down, and then you got picked up again and everything. But then how you transformed in one of the best all rounders in the world. And I was watching his interview, and he said that I know my limitations of my own game. And I think as a player, if you know your limitations of what your strengths are and you stay within that strengths, you don't try to do something that you are not supposed to or you cannot do it. Right. So like as my own self as a player, I think I have a bit of an idea. And that's what I tell everybody else as well. Like, you know, for Assad, he's a big hitter, right? That's his natural game. So I tell him like you play your game. Don't try to be a defensive player because that's not you. And if you try to do that, you would forget or you would not excel at what you're good at.
Yeah, सारी जिंदगी गली क्रिकेट खेला है उसमें जैसे छक्के चौके ही होते हैं ना उसमें कौन सा सिंगल डबल
So I
होता है
think it's just about being aware of what you do. And when you're in the match, you're not trying to experiment. You're just trying to, you know, focus on the things that you can do because you're delivering it for the team as well. So you just stay within your limitations and you're aware of what your strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah. So what would you say, obviously having the strong border like Amir, and then keeping you have your solid batting unit. How does your batting unit feel when he's bowling at his best?
To be very honest with you, when we're playing a game, I have so much confidence, in our bowling unit that I'll give you an example. Last year, it was our first year in elite. For some of us, we've played elite. Like I used to play, with Crown and then St. John's as well. But then when I joined, Glenmore, obviously, I just wanted to play with the boys. So we started from literally, like I said, I think Div 3 and then moved up. Um, we defended a total as low as I think it was 103 that we were defending.
Yeah.
But I never lost hope even in that game. Like we went in, it was the first game of the season for T20, and we were playing Zalmi.
Yeah.
Zalmi Lions is who we were playing. And we things didn't pan out. I think everybody was a little nervy as well. Playing first game in elite. And we put up I think 103, 104 on the board. But I never thought for a second that we've lost a game. I had so much confidence in our bowling unit that I said we can. Okay, winning might be being very optimistic, but we can still fight for this. Give him a fight. Put in your 100%, and we ended up winning that game, defending 103 against elite champions from the year before. Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to bowling, it's just like you cannot just like have one good bowler and you will deliver the goods. I think, for bowlers especially,
They come in packages, right? Like
it's a pack. So it's a wolf pack. So you need, like if I became the best bowler, it wasn't just me. If I didn't had my partners with me, like the
Rafe was there, yeah.
or Hamza. So it's like we have a pace battery of 5 good bowlers and they come in because if I am bowling good and if the pressure is getting released from the other end, it will not happen. If you've seen it, like, they always talk about the two W's. Like Wasim would not be there if Bakar wasn't there. And Bakar wouldn't have been there if Wasim wasn't there, like Asif or Ameer, or when Bumrah is bowling, which is exceptional, but then again, he needs a Hardik Pandey on the other side or a Siraj on the other side as well to give him that ability to keep on performing. So I think bowling, especially happens in a pack. So I think it's with us, because we have been playing for a very long time, this whole because so we know each other very well. So sometimes it's not my day, and if Faisal is doing good, so I understand, okay, today is he's the one who's getting the wickets, he's in a rhythm. So I need to make sure that I am not letting that pressure go off. So we are pretty adaptable within that unit as well.
Yeah, because I think it comes from not being selfish. Like
Yeah.
nobody's, coming to me and telling me that, hey, I've only bowled a couple of overs. Like, that never happens within our unit. I've been, this is my third year now as a captain, and so far nobody's ever come up to me and said, hey, listen, I was supposed to bowl 7 overs. What happened? Like I've only bowled a couple. You know what I mean? Like,
That happens in so many teams.
yeah. I've been part of those teams as well, where people get upset because they were supposed to bowl 7 overs and they were shorted by 2 overs. Like, man, you went for 50 and 5. You know what I mean? Like, I have to pull you out, because we're still playing to win the game. We're not playing here for personal stats. So for me, like having him, and then Devesh was so essential, to this opening pair. Left arm coming in, and then he can move the ball out as well. And then our second change was Hamza Javed. For me, in Div 1 or even in Elite, he is one of the quickest bowlers that we face in nets, right? Same thing with Faisal as well, with his Yorkers and his thingy action, he's been playing for so long as well that he has a very good understanding of the game, awareness as well. So it was never on him, like he said, it was the supporting, actors or bowlers that gave him that confidence. Hey, listen, these guys, are going for runs, or these guys are, building the pressure, and it's my time to just spear in and and take those wickets. And I think that's how he did it.
I just got lucky, like like anybody can land on it. That's why like a lot of times, most because we have four pace, and I think a lot of teams don't have that. They have like four, like first tier bowlers, and anybody can come and bowl. That is not like normally what happens. Like this normally have either one bowler or two
Yeah.
bowlers,
And I think
and the
every
second
team, that's the
change
thing.
is kind of like
Yeah, we're like, all right,
quality
we're
goes
gonna
down.
pull back, because this is a good, opening pair, and then we'll take charge on the second. But I think that's what people expect from Glenmore as well, or for Knights as well, where it's like, all right, let's just play out Ameer, or let's just play out Devesh, and we'll see. They don't know we have Hamza or Fast. Now people know, obviously. But when we started off playing, in the upper divisions, people were thinking, oh, this guy we have to look out for. Oh, Devesh left arm, steaming in, we have to look out for him. But then you have Hamza, Jawed, who is like I said, for me, he was one of the quickest that I faced within our team. And then Faisal coming in, being very smart with, where he's bowling, his lengths and everything. So I think that's something that people started finding out, a lot later, where, these guys were able to capitalize on that. It was like, all right, it's not just the one pair. You have, fast bowler after fast bowler coming in. And I think we've always been blessed. I think we're like your typical Pakistani team, where we're blessed with like, quick pacer. Yeah, base attack,
Tell
So-
me about this, Hamza Javed's run up.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Daniel Ball's getting shorter.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the key?
No, Hamza Javed is one of one, right? Like he I think was very much inspired by Shoaib Akhtar, just steaming in, and trying to take people's head off. Like that's his goal, and
Cool as a cucumber.
yeah, he's such a cool dude, like
Conflicting.
yeah. It's like a bipolar person, when he's bowling versus how he is as a person,
That's how a lot of fast bowlers would be. Like once they have that ball, they just become a completely different.
Different Alan, yeah.
I am on the field. I'm like, I just have to have that game face on, because you try to understand, like when you're rotating your whole body in a way that's not natural. So you need to be a little bit eccentric. You need to have a little bit, like how you say, like a little bit, eccentric in a way to like do that, to like steam in and come. So you need that aggression. And I think for us, it's about like whatever he's doing, we trust him, right? So whatever works from him, because for us, it's a platform for him to express himself however he wants to, right? So, like, if somebody's making their run-ups too long and somebody's making their run-ups too short,
It kind of
for them,
compensates it,
yeah,
And when I always have to have a time check, I'm like,
that's the
then
only,
he's gonna bowl 6 balls, from the boundary, like coming out of the 30-yard circle.
Yeah.
And if there's one wide in there, I'm screwed. Like I gotta bring in a spinner next to him
he's
over.
delivering the goods.
Yeah.
Like, he won us the finals game,
Yeah,
like
oh yeah.
the playoff games. He was
Playoff
very
games, he was
instrumental to us.
unplayable. And I've seen it, a lot of times when you guys are watching on YouTube and stuff, you can't tell. But when you're standing side on and you see balls zipping by, it's a completely different, way of looking at, how quick a bowler actually is versus how they appear on TV. Because I know a lot of, us, when we watch, these guys bowling at 140, 150, like international cricketers, we're like, I don't know that fast, man. I think I can smack that too, you know. But I actually had I went and watched the World Cup in 2019 when, it was happening in England. And all the tickets to the games or the matches that I bought were all side-ons just to see how quick these guys were. And I'm not even kidding. By the time they release, you can't even tell where the ball is, and the batsman has already played the shot. Like they were that quick. So I know we're not, even remotely close to that, but some of the bowlers like Hamza Javed, and now we have a new guy as well, Balraj, even Faisal, they've been quick, but you can't tell. Like I said, on YouTube, it doesn't appear. You're looking at maybe 110-ish, where some of the women, cricketers are bowling quicker than that. It seems like, but like when we do our practices, we have this software as well, where it'll tell you how much, like what pace you're bowling at. And some of these guys can, go over 130, but you'll never be able to tell. So Hamza Javed is, one of the guys that can, produce that pace. And now, like I said, this a new guy that I have, he's a kid as well, up and coming 20-year-old Balraj. He's quick as well. So, we've always been blessed with this bowling lineup, So like as a captain, like I can't ask for anything, more than that.
What you're seeing happening in Cricket Canada, just at a broader level, where do you see cricket going from here?
It's funny you ask because I think last month I watched that documentary that came out, you know. As much as you want to be optimistic about, how things will be, I think it becomes very personal, when you get up there, I think there's a lot of well, nepotism or favoritism or whatever you want to call it, at that stage. It's not based on performance. It's strictly based on who you know, is what I felt. I'm hoping for the best because obviously, the president was obviously a change. I think last month or the month after, World Cup, where guys that are still very passionate about it, they actually get a chance, like they get seen. Like I said, this young kid that I have on my team, he wants to play at a higher level. How do we get him there? There's so much conflict within the district itself, where if you're playing a certain league, you can't play the other league, or that league is run by people that know people in Cricket Canada and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that everybody buries whatever they have against each other, and actually look out for cricket, and start picking people on merit instead of favoritism or personal reasons, whatever. I have, like I said, a couple of guys. Yogam is another one that we just recruited this year as well. Like he wants to play because he's played some high level cricket in India. His passion is to pursue that over here. And I said, just keep coming in, just keep performing, and I'm sure at some point somebody will pick you up, because once you do well over here within this league, your next option is smash and grab, where you get to play with some international levels. You get that kind of exposure as well. And then from there you do well, and then obviously you get a call out and so on. So I'm hoping it's for the best, but knowing how things have been in the past, where CDCL are fighting their own lawsuit against the prior leadership. Um, it's hard to say. I want to be optimistic, but I'm not very.
But sometimes it's growing pains as well, right? Because cricket is growing, but the good thing is that, sometimes, things have to get worse before they get better. But, at least, like, if you see like there's a documentary out, people like yourself or other people on different other platforms, they're speaking out as well. So we, everybody has a platform to speak over. So I hope that, things get better. So I think
I
that
feel like it's
nobody,
just falling on deaf ears at this point.
yeah, but like, we don't have to lose hope. I think there's a lot of still people who, like are there who want this sports to flourish as well. And hopefully, like in the coming years, things get better and we kind of like get on a path where at least, like overall, like if you see like cricket has grown within Canada as well. Yes, it
Yeah,
has.
well,
So with
within
outside
Calgary
as well.
itself,
But,
yeah.
like that's how sometimes things, work out. And hopefully, if there's a bit more, money, there's a bit more sponsorships as well, it might just put it in the right
Yeah, I think that's
direction.
the other thing as well. I think we need support from the government too, where where you have a similar kind of setup in terms of, payouts. For some of the other like lacrosse teams, or I'm not going to say hockey because hockey is on a very big scale, but you have the men's national basketball team as well. Lacrosse team and the volleyball team and so many other teams, where you actually can make a career out of it. From the same documentary that we were watching, these guys who were playing on international level representing Canada were paid like $3,000. That's nothing. Like, how do you support your passion and run a home or a family or whatever?
How do you maintain a diet?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't even
So
add the supporting family.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm hoping, but I can see why there might be a little bit of a holdback from, the funding parties as well. It's just like, man, you guys get your, shit together first before you come and approach us. Like, there's so much corruption within, you guys that we don't know, if we can trust you with all this funding that, might be coming in. So again, there's hope, and hopefully with this new inclusion, because we're getting a big round over here as well, in the Northeast, which starts, I think, in 2029, I think is when they break ground. That might attract, some eyes on some of the young talents that we have, at least in Calgary or Alberta in general. Yeah.
And sometimes, like even looking at the big picture, sometimes it is not like, promising, but, as an individual, you need to see what is in your control. And maybe you start with your own team, with your own club, with your own league, that, you bring that type of transparency, or you bring that, type of like culture where, it's promoting. And I think if each us individually, if there's 4 people around you that you could influence, you try to influence them. And if we do our bit, hopefully it trickles up as well. So I think that's the best you can do. And I think if we, rather than, just like just thinking, oh, I don't know how Cricket Canada is being run or what ICC is doing, because that's not in my control. But, at least it's something what is in control when you're playing on the field, or you're making sure that, the guys that you're being, or including them in your team, they have the right, their moral compass is correct as well, and you don't have these people come into your clubs or their team that can, pivot into that direction. If we even start small, you can achieve big things as well.
100%. I mean, I want to end this conversation with talking about the youth again. That talks about where do we go if we have these type of hurdles? Where do these youth go if they can't even play?
Yeah, I think eventually, just touching on your point, is just gonna die out, right? Like, there will be no interest because you can't make a career out of it,
Yeah.
right? And it'll still be old OGs, playing cricket, or new immigrants, that come in, with kids that have played some cricket, back in India or Pakistan, or wherever they're coming from. They'll carry on, but I don't think with the state, of affairs right now with Cricket Canada, that anybody wants to make a career out of it. I think whoever is playing, they're taking it as a secondary thing. It's not their primary thing, like where you can earn some money, and live a respectable, lifestyle, for that matter. So if it doesn't, happen in the next few years, then I don't see, like, my kids have no interest because, they do athlete comparison in terms of salaries. Like, they know, they're very, aware of things. Like, everything is online, where basketball players or hockey players are making millions of dollars, and then you have Cricket Canada making $3,000, per athlete. Like, You can't hire, like, you can't even hire, a coach or a personal trainer or a nutritionist, within that amount. Like, you can't, like you said, how do you even eat, or maintain a healthy lifestyle, with that. So
That's one of the struggles that even national athletes have been.
yeah.
Even I'm not just talking about Canadian cricket,
Mhm.
but also the U.S. cricket team.
Mhm.
They have part-time jobs,
Yeah.
and on top of that, they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That they
I think it's just out of the love of the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the other part is like also like like it's not just cricket. Like lacrosse has the same. Like a lot of people who are just like part timers. Even like like the NFL, so you see a lot of this. Not like just the quarterbacks are making millions of dollars, but not like every person. On
No, but at least they know that they have.
Yeah.
If we do well, next year we'll get a
think
bigger
it's more
contract.
about,
Over here, we don't have that.
Yeah, I think it's more about like how much the interest grows within the sports as well, right? Like if there's more eyeballs, there's more interest. Exactly, right? So, and which is happening, right? Like our league has grown exponentially from where it was. I think there would be, if the more people are interested, which I think that would be the case, and also like us being a good ambassador of the sports as well, that we are attracting the youth to come to this path. Not everybody tries to make into this sport because they want to. Like, we're not making money, right? But we still play the sport because we're passionate about the game, and it might have to start from there. That like there'll be a few people who are just like I'm not playing for money. I'm just in love with the sports as well. And maybe if there's more interest, there's more people. It's more growing. There's more people who are involved in it, and hopefully, like I'm at least optimistic to this point, like it might come where they will be attracting sponsors or more funding from ICC, where and I think they are trying to tap into this market. But like cricket is one game. You look at soccer, how much it has progressed, because
Yeah.
North America is so
So just
close.
within the last 10 years, think about soccer.
Like they're still struggling, right?
In
It's
a
not
hockey
like
dominant, country,
yeah.
soccer is like the second highest,
Yeah,
sport.
most watched sports. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's yeah, like the whole world is crazy about soccer, but when it comes to North America, it hasn't been where it needs to be, right?
Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, like, like I've only been in Calgary for the last 14 years now. And you know how much cricket has grown. We don't have an infrastructure in place. Like, the grounds are still the same that we were playing. There's only been an addition of a couple of grounds, for the last like 14, 15 years. So, like, we started from like 3 or 4, teams in a division to now, I think last year we had over 200 teams that registered, but we still have the same grounds.
$177 Creek, something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ridiculous, right? Like, think about it. You've been here you've been playing, yeah.
Games
Yeah.
scheduled.
Yeah.
And if anything, we have less resources than
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
So these are some tough challenges for a proper place where people can change.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we solve those problems. So with that, we thank you all for watching Cric Chat powered by Ameer Sheikh.